Good afternoon. It's Bradley McAllister, founder of Spiracraft, out here on a Thursday afternoon in what's about to be, looks like a raging thunderstorm. I have said this before this summer, if I just disappear, it means the power went out, right? Because it's all black and nasty out there. The skies are looking very unhappy. But hey, so Jeff is here. Good afternoon, Jeff. Good afternoon, Joe. Good to see you guys. I hope you're doing well. Let's see. It's hotter than blazes out there, but we got the AC on. My light looks funny. Not sure what the deal is. You never know. It's shining on that side of the head kind of bright. Maybe that light bulb got bumped. Hang on just a second. I think that's what happened. Let's move that over there. Just a little bit. It's not quite so bad on my head. Michael's here. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Good to see you. You're Jeff Peters. You're on vacation doing nothing. Well, what good is that? Actually, it's a wonderful thing. I'm glad you're on vacation. And hope you're having a good time. So let me see. I've been trying to figure something out here while folks are coming in. We're getting ready. I'm watching, I'm over on YouTube, and I'm watching my chat column, which my chat box actually this morning, as I was getting ready, I accidentally reduced the screen size to which I can't read the comments, and I had to struggle to get it back up, but finally it came up. That laptop is like a dinosaur. So I can see again. I used to be able to see how many people from Facebook and or YouTube were on the stream, and I don't really see it these days on that screen over there. Not that it totally matters. Just always wondering what's going on out there on the other side of that camera right there. So, Sandra, hey, been a while. Glad I could join. Thank you for hosting. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining. So today's project, all right, maybe it's not for everybody, but it's for some of us, and I happen to be one of them. I call it an organic, if you will, an organic form, which means we turn it, and whatever its natural shape is that it comes out when we're done is what we've got. Now, they can be pretty cool, and then sometimes they can be kind of doggish. You know, you get that. But we are going to make a winged bowl, right? A four-winged bowl, and we're going to do, it's super simple, except that the turning part with the tools is where the difficulty kind of comes in. Otherwise, it's not anything strange about it. And to show you that, what I'm talking about, so, and also, I got to throw this in. This is some of that pecan that I've had, and it's over a year old now. I've done these in the past a lot, but with aspen, which is like turning butter, right? And this is pecan, which is now a year old. Now I cut 6 or 8 inches off of this log, and then cut my section and cut it in half. But it's still going to be hard, so I'm going to have to work a lot harder than I want to today. But that being said, this is no different. Here's our log. It's upside down to 2 halves, but nonetheless, typical making a bowl blank, right? You take a log, you cut it to length, you cut it in half. You take your half over to the bandsaw, you spin it around, and you make a round bowl blank, right? Hey, Jerry Messmer, good to see you, buddy. It's been a long time. I hope you're doing well. Yes, I have a locking pin now on my trailer hitch for the Spyro buggy, Jerry. I'm not going to let that happen again. I think you saw my comment earlier today, maybe. I responded to you. Yeah, that was really an eye-opener to walk out and find out that I had no trailer hitch on time to leave. Anyway, and Facebook user, great to see you again. So the deal is, instead of cutting it round, we're going to leave it whole, right? Now, I think I had chosen this one, I think. So we're going to set this one off to the side. Now, we still have your standard log cut in half, right? And this has got to be hard because it's heavy. If you wanted to make your typical natural edge bowl, just like this one, right? You would mount it exactly opposite of what we're going to do today. This would be the top on your natural edge bowl, okay? And you would have your profile and all that, and you would make a tenon on the inside, and then you would turn your corners away, and you'd get your banana bowl shape. All right, well this, we're gonna do it the opposite. So we're not gonna cut it round, we're gonna leave it square. This is a square winged bowl. That's the name of this piece. And we're gonna leave it square, and we're going to mount a faceplate here, and we're gonna make a tenon on the outside, and we're gonna leave it perfectly square and just turn it round, which gives us a profile. And I was just looking, I ran just so I was a minute late. I was looking to see if I had one over in the boxes, a sample like the picture that I showed, but I didn't find one, and the clock was ticking, so I had to run. Love making firewood bowls for Christmas presents. I get you. So this is going to can be nasty, especially with this bark on here. We're going to try and take as much off as we can, but they're pretty fun. And you get these 4 weird corners that stick up, right? And then you get a dip between the corners going both ways because of the curvature of the log. So they're a little different, and like I said, sometimes they come out really cool looking, sometimes maybe not so much, right? So that's what we're gonna do. The pith is on this one. The pith is right there. So pretty much at the kind of the top of things, if you will. So we can turn that away pretty easy. You can see we've got our sapwood, which is starting to spalt, and our heartwood. So we're gonna have two, and this heartwood's gonna be hard, the sapwood's gonna be punky. So we're gonna have kind of 2 differences there. And we're gonna have to deal with this aggressive bark, which we're gonna try and peel off. All right. Uh-oh. Why did that screen go away? My chat column screen just went, oh, HP Smart decided it wants to do something to a computer. Hang on just a second, guys. I hate when something else tries to take over. No, I don't want to allow this thing to do anything to this device. Go away. Give me that back. All right, there we go. You couldn't see it, but I completely lost my chat column monitor to a printer. God knows why the printer. Well, it's on the network. That's probably why. Okay, so pop back up here. Let's get this chuck off of here. Let's get a few things out of the way. I did not clean up in the least since the last time I was out here. I am busy trying to get all my ducks in a row for getting out on the road. Some of you may have seen my post this morning. Spiracraft is going off to SWAT. I'm leaving here on the 21st of August, going to from Waco. I drive up to Denver, Loveland, to go to the Rocky Mountain Symposium. I'll actually fly home for a week in between those two. And then when the Rocky Mountain Symposium is over, I'll drive straight to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the 1,500-mile little jaunt from Denver to PA, and we'll set up for the Mid-Atlantic Woodturning Symposium. Then I'll come home, have a little bit of a break, and I go to the Ohio Valley Woodturners Guild Symposium in Indiana in October, and then I go to the North Carolina Woodturning Symposium down Jerry Messmer's way in November. So I've got 5 symposiums coming up in the next 3 months, if you will, and that last one is the first week of November. So September, October is busy because SWAT's right at the end of August. So anyway, I'm hitting the road with the Spire Buggy with Spiracraft, and we're going out on the road to do some trade shows, have a great time, and talk to folks again. I know I got lost on the sidebar there. Anyway, so get that off of there. Let's mount this guy onto a faceplate. And I'm just going to kind of find the center here. I don't have any markings on it yet, but I did see a pencil or a pen laying on the floor, so that'll give me a start. Some days I'm just not 100% organized, or most days, but I acknowledge that. And all I'm going to do is go from corner to corner, real simple stuff. It doesn't need to be perfect. This thing is 13 and a quarter approximately, give or take. More like 13. Let's call it more like 13. All right, so that's 6.5 if my math is still working in my head. And I don't need much, I just need a little mark. Yeah, Jerry, I don't know that I'll have a lathe. I was trying to get, I don't know if Rich is in here. Rich, you must have popped in. So I was trying to get the good folks at Nova to supply one of the new, tell me what it is again, Rich, because I'm forgetting it's not the Nebula I'm here in front of. The new little guy, the 13-inch guy. Anyway, they didn't have any available. And I was going to take one of those on the road if they did. And I know Rich hopefully will pop in here in a second. The Neptune, that's it. The Nebula, all these ends, right? Everything's out in space. The Neptune Max. So we were trying to get it together, and I was working with the folks down there. They just didn't have an extra one for me to take out there on the road. Yeah, you just got the first sample in like a week ago. And there was one that was out at AAW. But the fact that we're going out on the tour for the woodworking shows, all things, if they all come together, we will have one out there is the plan. So I've just kind of made a rough looking center, and I'm not sure if me talking too much is, I'm going to double check that because I've been talking about lathes. Oh, so that AAW one just showed up there. I got you. So this piece is a little bit longer going this way. That's what the problem is. So let's make that. That's got to come over here. That's why I was off just a fuzz. That looks better. My eye was saying, no, Bradley, that your X does not mark the spot. All right. Yeah, it's even Rich Tom wasn't 100% sure just what you've got coming, because it all depends on space in the containers and so on and so forth. And I get it, but that's what we're going to take out at least working show time, because I'm not taking this big guy. That's just not going to happen. All right, so that's close enough to center, right? And I'm putting these 1.5-inch screws in this thing. I'm not worried about the metal and the screw holes. Okay. Now, I'm probably going to get beat up today with this guy. Just because it's so hard. The wood is so hard. And the fact I haven't done one in a number of years. But hey, that's neither here nor there to me. I love getting back in here. And anyway, these are 1.5-inch number 10 SPAC screws in the Easy Wood aluminum faceplate. So if this faceplate fools you with the Easy Wood products you see, they used to be anodized black like this. Now they're the straight aluminum, silver aluminum, same faceplate. Just doesn't have the anodizing on it anymore. And I didn't want to take the fun out of this one and mount it all up and test it for balance. I thought I'd just go ahead and go with it and see what happens. And the cameras are pretty close to being aligned, but they may not be right on the money. Once I got it on here, I will fine tune the look of the camera. So you can see most of that, but not all. And what I will do is pop you to the end camera for the moment. And we're going to adjust a different camera, though. I'm going to adjust a different camera that you can't see being adjusted. And because I just couldn't quite get them adjusted the way I wanted to. Beforehand. That and I was busy running around. All right, so it looks like we can actually zoom in a little bit now too. Just a minute to get this right. I'm always happy when I remember to not let you have to watch all this craziness go on here with the zooming in and out, getting you dizzy. Back out just a. Come on, back out just a fuzz. Cooperate. There we go. Set the focus on my hand there. Okay. Let's got that one for the moment. Michael, one day you and I are going to work this out and you get to drive. So we'll pop you into the overhead. So now you can see the whole piece turn. Good deal. And I'm going to work on the end camera and get it dialed in just a little bit closer. And then I'll take a look over at what is going on in the chat column. Let's see, let's move this guy that way into view. And I hate to zoom out because I want you to see what's going on. It's going to end up round. So here's what I'm going to take a chance on this end shot because this is the one we're going to use a lot. And I'm going to pull it in pretty tight. And part of it will probably go. It will go out of the screen when it's spinning until we make it round. All right. So, all right. So it looks good when it's sideways. It's actually square, technically speaking, more or less, give or take. All right. Now we've got all this bark on here. And I don't want to get hit with this bark. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the spindle, which you can't quite see. I'll pop it in here. I'm going to lock the spindle on my nebula, not my Neptune, but my nebula. And I've got just an old beater chisel. And I'm going to see if I can't peel some of this bark off. Some of it's still on there pretty tight. And if it doesn't want to pop loose, then we just have to live with it. If you guys remember, I broke my mallet, and yes, of course, I have not gone out and bought myself another one. Now, this wood is also, the bugs are getting into it and things like that, which makes for what I consider to be character and protein if the worm comes out and flies in my mouth. Although, with my face shield on, that shouldn't happen, theoretically, should it? Now this has got, so it's got all the features that I like. It's got wormholes. It's got some limb stuff on there. Pop you here on the end. You'll see that's the overhead. 6, 5. There we go. Sometimes you can peel off a whole big piece of bark. All right, and that bark is not going to do us anything. We're not making a natural edge. All right, you can see the wormholes in it. And it's going to be dirty and nasty enough. The last thing you want to do is turn in this bark. Next week's project, turn a mallet. Well, next week, so I'm getting so close. Like I said, I'm leaving on the 21st. Next week is going to be the packing week and getting ready. I'm not sure that I'll go ahead and do a live stream next week. You know, probably going to be too many things on my to-do list to get ready. I might, but I'm just not I'm not gonna commit to that just yet. Yeah, I've actually got more mallets around, Jeff. It's just that I always forget. I'm doing something else until 12 o'clock before I run out here and start turning this on. So I seem to always forget some of the little details. You know, not a lot of details, but some of them. You can see all the bug paths are kind of cool, even though most people don't like bugs in their wood. I'm not most people. I mean, I have no qualms with turning nice, clean, straight wood with no bug holes in it, but I like all the organics. So this will be kind of interesting to see what happens. And of course, that's going to stay right there. Right in the middle where we don't need it. So let me look here. I used to have a genuine hammer in here that I haven't seen in a while. And I may not now. because I don't really need to beat on anything to speak of in here. So I will take an old tool and use it as a mallet handle. It's actually this is my original, my first 1/2-inch Sorby bowl gouge. I keep it just for the sake of having it. Nostalgia. There's no flute left and all that, but I keep it in the drawer. Anything that can hit a chisel will take care of the process that we need to do. All right. Now, nature carves up a piece of wood pretty cool, right? Not that we want this carved, but that's pretty cool looking surface of just standing there on its own accord. Okay. Let's see how this guy's going to turn. We're going to use... Which camera? We're in the end camera. Hopefully my head wasn't in the way there. So we're going to let this find the center. Well, that's not too bad at 250. We'll bounce our way up. 500. And I'm standing off to the side. I'm going to want as much speed as I can get safely. 750. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there at 750. I'm not shaking for once. Things are pretty steady, all right? It's zooming away. In the end camera, that's overhead. In the end camera, you can actually see if we were to make a round bowl, what the profile would be. But since we're going to leave the square corners, it's going to have a whole different look to it, all right? And I think we'll pop back up here. We'll stop for a second until I get myself all ready to go. I love the brake. It comes right to a stop. So we're going to make a tenon right here. And we're just going to carve this, start to carve this round, leaving these corners, leaving this log intact just like it is. And that's why it's kind of a messy one and it kind of beats you up. There's a lot of impact going on there. Okay. And so you see here an issue in that my banjo is up against the tailstock and my tool rest is hitting the piece of wood, which tells me that I have no option but to back up my tailstock just a little more. Get myself a little more room to work. All right. And we'll use whatever tools come to mind. I will start with the 5/8 Carter & Son bowl gouge to start cutting on this guy. Okay. But we'll use carbide, we'll use bowl gouges, we'll use whatever we need to. We'll get our mask on. Let me look and see if there's anything. Just got first sample a week ago. AAW's one just showed up. Okay, Jeff Peters next week. Okay, good deal. Who's that? Get out of there, whatever you are. I got my fan on. I got my AC on. Everything is locked down. We check it all again. Make sure everything's safe. Got our bowl gouge. Should still be sharp enough for what we're going to do right now. If it's not, we'll run over and sharpen it up. Face mask goes on, and let's go into the end camera. I'm going to take a quick sip of water before I start this mess, because I know it's going to be dusty. All right. As they say, let her rip, right? Okay. Been a while since we've been into one of these. I found a great series of photos this morning from my shop in Leadville years ago, where I did a lot of these out of aspen, but there wasn't anything, the backdrop of the pictures wasn't any good, so that's why I just took one and pulled it off the background and posted it up this morning. So we're going to stop a lot probably and readjust the tool rest as we come around the corner. Now it's supposed to be square, and this one might be, sorry for my reach. In theory, I made it, this one's going to be oval. This one's going to be weird. I was not thinking right this morning. And it's about an inch out of square, if you will. Alright, so it's 8 inches wide and 9 inches long. But we'll deal with that. And by the way, I'm standing way out of the way, so I'm standing back over here. Right, the chunks are flying off of this thing right now. They're banging all over the place, but I'm staying over here. I mean, I'm getting hit by the coming off, but nothing's going to hit me directly in the face. Okay, so I'll pop you back into the end camera there. Like I said, these can be pretty bouncy at first. Especially when you're working with something that's dry, or dry air. Now theoretically this is still green, but it's not. So what happens, nothing really looks particularly out of the ordinary until we start to turn the inside away. That's when the magic starts to happen on these. So you can see, I mean, we know it's another, in my world, cool organic looking piece of wood. Alright. And this is going to be round. But we're going to end up with these square legs unless I'm doing something wrong today. Because these corners are what we want to keep. This is what we would have cut away if we had cut it on the bandsaw. Is that making sense? And if you end up with one leg longer than the other, I'll show you how we adjust that when we come around to the other side. So I'm trying to get in here as close as I can, doing it with the lathe off. Now I'm going to go way out here in this corner. It'll be a little dicey out there. So one thing I did is I made sure I took my hand and put it underneath the tool, just put my thumb on top. So less, because I don't wear a glove, because this wood kind of beats on you. There we go. Now it's really firing off the corner pieces. And again, this is going to be a little bit oval, but not too bad, I don't think. So I just keep working that tool rest around to keep up with this corner right here. Whichever corner is sticking out the furthest, I make the closest to the tool rest. Okay. All the way out to this corner. If I put you in the overhead, you can see how it's taking the shape of a bowl when it's spinning. But you can see that this still reaches way down, and that side still reaches way down. Now we'll make this round to a point, and then whatever we don't make round is what's going to get carved away, more or less, all right? And we'll clean all this top stuff up. Okay, since we're stopped, we'll make another move here. Always turn the piece like this by hand to make sure nothing's going to hit. Jerry, if you're still here, I'm thinking about it. I'm loving your comment. You love making firewood Christmas gifts. That's pretty funny. All right, let's see what this is looking like. Okay. So we need to go ahead and work in a tenon down here. Let's take a little bit more of this off. I can put you in, which one do you like? The overlay there. Let's flip that. We'll put the overhead in for the overlay. This gets us there. Another little adjustment. I can kind of see where my tenon is going to be right there. And now that I think we're safe, we're going to take her up to 1020. Make her turn a little bit easier. Got a nice smell to it, this pecan. All right, so I think I'll leave it right there. All right, let's do that. Now, I'm hoping I didn't take too much off of this. You never know with me. All right, I do need to adjust my calipers. I'm going to reach over here, might get in there just a second. I'm going to adjust my calipers for this chuck. I hope I didn't go too far, because it would take the leg away if I did. The sides, but the ends, we'll see what happens here. We'll see. It's been a while since I've done one of these. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So I've got a Supernova 2 here that I'm setting up with the 3.5-inch tenon. That looks pretty good. That's just about right there. I'm getting pretty good with the bigger guesses these days. Something in a square tool would be good. It's amazing how I have this wonderful tool rack here, and somehow I always seem to be looking for tools. You know, go figure, right? Just enough line to where I can see. That's how I like to do them. Just a fuzz big. Then we'll come back with the bowl gouge and take some more of this away. Okay, so that's going to work. Let's drop down one size in the bowl gouge. Again, this is a Carter and Son. This part's cutting nicely. Kind of making my dovetail as I go a little bit. There we go. And we'll flatten this out. Get rid of this stuff. Again, we can take that tailstock away anytime. Just leaving it up there just to be on the safe side. Boom, that's happy. Okay. I know you've heard me talk. I need another table behind me. To put tools on. As usual, make sure it's just slightly concave. All right. Maybe a little more dovetail to it. I'll just take a carbide detail tool. Cut a little more dovetail on there. That was funny. I'd be upside down, wouldn't be too good, would it? Mark the center for future reference if we need it. All right. Now I am afraid that I made that round, and I may have only taken. We may only have two depressions. We'll see. We'll see. Pop back up here. Get fresh. Punch my lathe back down to 250 so I don't start off with anything crazy that I'm not aware of. Yeah, there we go. Didn't want to fall down there. And so in the overhead, you can see the kind of dog bone looking shape it has, all right? And that's what it's supposed to be. We'll pop these screws out. And we want it to cut down the sides. We want it to make wings. And I said, it's been a long time, and I'm concerned that I did what we considered it would look like the ends here might not get carved away. We actually want them to get carved away. So we might only have 2 wings instead of 4. That would be the downside, or what would the outcome, I should say. There is no downside in a crazy organic piece, at least on a good day. I am amazed with the new Nova finish on their chucks. It does not get. It doesn't the coating doesn't lose its shine, and especially in the humidity here, I've seen other chucks lose their brightness and not look as nice. They're fully functional, and I know that. And I was down visiting with Nova a couple of years ago now down at the office in Florida, and they were explaining to me how the Supernova Protex, and this is a Protec, has a newer coating on it, and it works great. It hasn't changed at all. All right, let's see. This is at 250. I'm just going to turn this on real quick. Make sure it's not too whacked out. For what we're doing, I think we're okay. We've got a nice snug grip on here. Wormhole dirt in there. Okay. Let's clean up this face, and we're going to shorten it up a little bit as well and get it all flattened up. Again, I think I'm going to end up with a two-winged bowl. I think I may have made a slight tactical error. That's what happens when you don't rehearse. You just come out of the office and roll. You know? Sometimes it just goes that way. We'll see what we get here. Let's try 750. And the main feed is in the overhead right now, so we're going to go back to the end camera with an overhead overlay like so. That'll be one for Rich to field there, Joe. Okay. So let's take a little bit more off to get this pith out of here. You can still see the pith is right there. Let's take another pass or two across here. Now we know the middle's all going to go away. A little bit more, get rid of that. I didn't cut this perfectly centered, must be because I was wearing flip-flops in the chainsaw. I wasn't really. I did put on shoes to run the chainsaw. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. Okay. Now we could use anything in the world to take all this metal out. Okay, any tools we wanted would be perfectly fine. I'm going to take this live center away. Okay, and well, we'll leave her at 750 for now. Now you should be able to see this outer roundness. You see my finger back here through that ghost image. That's what's going to make our ears, which as we go down here. It's got a pretty core in it. It's pretty amazing. Now, I'm not going to tell you this tool is as sharp as if it just came off the wheel. It's not. I used this all last week out here for Spiracraft Live, and I did not sharpen it today. I'm not doing any finish cuts, so without having to remove any metal, I can keep right on turning. And I'm going to stop and take this tailstock completely off of the lathe. If it will cooperate. Because it's just going to get in the way. So Rich, when is the swing away coming for the Nebula? So we don't have to take that thing on and off of there. Any idea on that? Honeydew project pull you away. I get it. So as we get thinner and thinner, we'll start to cut into this area and this area. So it looks like I'm only going to have, this is because it wasn't perfectly square, we're going to have just 2 wings and not 4 on this piece. Alright? The principle is still the same. It's just that I didn't make it perfectly square, so it's a little long, and we have this dimension is shorter than this dimension, and that's what happened. You just got a swing away sample. You get all the stuff. Where do you work anyway? So I think I'm going to pick the speed up a little bit. And let's go ahead and make this thin. And I may end up sharpening these up pretty soon. Having that fan makes for some nice chip blow by, doesn't it? So theoretically, we should be cutting a hole open into the side of this, and we're just about there. All right, that's just about to come through. All right, and we've come through on this side. All right, so it's doing what it's supposed to do, at least on two ends. All right. So I've worked this wall down, typical fashion where you work down, I'll stop this again. You work your wall down to the final thickness that you want before you take the next section out, all right? So we'll make this a little bit thinner. I want to open this up. I want to get this to open up, if it will, easily. Excuse my cough. Hopefully my shoulder doesn't get in the way here. And I tell you what, now we're going to stop for a second, because now that we've got things kind of dialed in, let's go ahead and adjust that. Oh, look at that keyboard completely covered. I think we can zoom in a little bit here where you can see what's going on a little bit better. I got to blow this keyboard off. Somebody's throwing wood chips all over the place. Keyboard and the mouse pad disappeared. And you wonder why my tools have such a hard time. Uh-oh, where'd I go? There we go. Let me pop you into the overhead so you don't have to watch this other one change. I'm going to make some adjustments on the end camera here as quick as I can. And we're going to move that guy over there, and we're going to I always talk to myself, I know. We're going to zoom in, and then we're going to move it back to the left. And I think I'm back out just a fuzz. You probably want to see the tool rest. Just ever so barely. Okay. I think we'll go with that. And let's switch over again now. Ooh. Pop you on the end. We'll still leave the overhead overlay on so you can see here easier now how we're starting to come through. And if I pop you in the full overhead, you can see this is what we want. We want this to get cut away. We want this to get cut away. And we wanted this end and this end to get cut away as well, leaving one leg here, one leg here, or wing, a wing here, and a wing here. Well, it looks like I messed up because this wasn't perfectly square or close enough to square. It's rectangular. And so we're only going to have to cutaways right here. Okay? And that's just the way it is. That's what I got for what I did today. All right, but I'm going to go a little thinner on this wall up here, which will help me open those up. I'm going to stay out of the way because the little shards could come flying off on me. So we'll make it pretty thin. Not Jerry Messmer hat thin. Okay. And that's just not going to come away right there. One of those days. But we're about 1/8 of an inch thick, which makes it decorative and not particularly functional. So now I'm back up to where my line is. I'll be careful while looking at the outside profile. And you can hear, I don't know if you can hear that or not, the thinness there. And so as I'm turning, I'm going to turn this off, as I'm cutting with the gouge here, I'm looking down the outside edge, following my outside profile. Okay? So this is starting to open up somewhat. If I pop it in the overhead, you can see as we go down in, as we're cutting this wall away on the inside, we're taking this away on the outside, which is our goal. Now this little guy, this is weird, it may just end up staying there. So it'll be kind of all kinds of crazy organic, I guess you could say, as we work in here. I'm going to take a little more out of the center, and then we'll come back out here to work on the thinness of the wall. And if you're a carbide kind of guy and you're wondering, how am I going to roll with my carbide tools? You find something round that's got a real cutter on it, or standard cutter. So this is one of the big CI Zeros, the full-size tool from Easywood Tools. Don't want to leave out my carbide tools. Now, if you remember, anybody saw my video clip, social media the other day, yesterday maybe it was, of sticking my finger into the triangle piece. You want to be careful as you're paying attention here. You're pretty close to this edge up here, and that edge has a hole in it now. Okay, and I'm in the overhead, so I should show you this here. This edge has a hole in it, so as my hand is crawling up the tool rest, I have to be careful because I'm not going to hit just a nice smooth rim. I'm going to hit daylight or space, and then solid, and then space and solid. So if I let my palm get up against this, when it hits, this will be all cool. It's right here that's going to hurt really bad because that's really sharp. And the same thing here, okay? Something to keep in mind, because this fleshy part of your hand right there will definitely get eaten up. All right, and off we go. Turn that back on, grab a sip of water. Now, if you end up with some weird appendages in your voids, then you can sand them away or carve them, as is popular today. So as you can see, especially for rough work, it doesn't really matter what you use. Alright, now I'm going to go back to my little bowl gouge here. And you can hear this is moved. And the one I really want to use is, where is my little miniature bottom feeder? Is it out here on the table? I think it might be. There we go. So this guy has the little teeny short bevel. And we're going to slide this tool rest right up, way up inside of here. Close as we can get. Okay. Now our wall gets thicker. So we've still got some material to take out here. Alright, we're turning 1,000, we'll leave it at that. I'm just touching in there. Yep. And I'm looking over here at this side, at the opposite side. Over here, there's my finger, because I can't really see in here. So I'm going to come in back up here to the top, see if I can pick up a cut. And this guy has a really short bevel, so it'll let me come right across the bottom here. It's trying to vibrate a little bit because I'm actually got about 1.5 inches over the tool rest there. Okay. So our sides opened up to a degree, not quite as much as I wanted. Try and clean up a tool mark here without breaking this. There we go. Come on. So what's interesting is I make this cut right now. I'm watching the hole open up. So I'm actually looking over here. My finger up there. And I could see that open up the hole. It went from solid to open as I'm making this cut right here. I hope I don't make a donut on a live stream. Okay, that's pretty good. Got a little extra on the outside out here. We can come back and clean that up. Okay, so I'm gonna need to go back up one size just because of the reach. I'm getting a little flex there. And your fingers are a pretty good thickness gauge. You can get out the calipers, but your fingers will tell you a lot. And the sound tells you a lot as well. You can hear that, if you can hear that, compared to, all right, that sound tells you everything. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on in there. All right, a little bit more right down in through here. And what I'm going to do is move this tool rest over like this. Make sure it's not hitting anything. And try and come in here with my little teeny one again. And just clean this up. I'm kind of low there because my tool rest is low for that tool. All right, can still afford. You see this? Can you see this mark? When I bring this around, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that tool mark or not. There's a little lip right there, and then we go thicker. So I want to make another pass at that. The bug holes always make me wonder if I'm going to blow it up. I'm going to stop and raise that tool rest up. Just a fuzz. Alright. I wish that would have cut all the way through the wall, but it didn't. Up there on the side. Okay, enough for that area. That's uniformly thin. Like I say, there's a little hump on the outside, but not a big deal. So now this is getting fragile, okay? You can see all the flex in it because it's missing two sides. It's 1/8 of an inch thick and missing two sides and got bug holes in it. So what that really means is it's basically a minor disaster waiting to happen, so you want to pay attention, stay careful, and all that good stuff. This is definitely a face shield kind of piece. And we just want to flatten that bottom out. And I'm going to stop this where I kind of feel that with my hand. All right. And we can take our round tool. It's easier to reach in here actually. Now we might lift up a little grain in there, we'll see. Now that's an interesting pattern right there. Not sure what caused it, but see that? Looks like an octagon of white. And it really is just, that's funny. It's just these worm trails, bug trails, flowing by. And they're making that pattern just when it spins. That was pretty cool. And I watched it appear and I was like, what's happening in there? Okay, so that is pretty much down to the bottom of this guy. Now, up here, I'm going to pop you to the overhead. And I'm going to zoom in on this, so give me a second. Clean up again. Let me pop you back over here for a moment. And I'm going to come down on inside this overhead shot. And get you right down in there. At least as close as I can get and show the holes. So this is kind of like the first time I've had one end up with material in the middle. All right, now this one ate a good bit of it away. The wormholes will make it interesting as well. So if you wanted to stay totally organic, you could have this hole-filled, jagged piece. It's got a little limb knot right there. If you like this kind of stuff like I do, you know, there's a natural edge. Now, optimally, we would have cut this. This would have cut away in a relatively uniform, but not a perfect pattern, right? It's not supposed to be symmetrical. It's supposed to be organic and be a little out. And this, you know, with the bug holes in it, it's kind of got its own character going on. There is a little ridge right here that I'm hesitant to try and turn away for fear I'll break it. I could try, but I'm a little hesitant. And I'm mildly disappointed that I didn't take out. If I had cut this square, then the pith would be gone. This would be cut out as well on both sides, and maybe we'd have our four legs, and the pith would have been gone, which is why I wasn't worried about it. But it does have to be square, or very, very close to square for that to work. All right? So, what else do we have left to do with this? Well, one could sand up this outside edge. It's not dry. You can feel the moisture in it, even though it's, kind of hard. But again, now you're at the point of do you want to carve this away? Do you just want to leave it like this natural thing to sit on the shelf and have holes through the wall and all that good stuff? The end grain tore a little bit right here, but that's not so bad that I wouldn't sand up. We got the bug trails. Nice bug trails. So that's the basics of doing the four-legged wing bowl, but this is the two-legged wing bowl because somebody didn't cut it quite square and was in a hurry and didn't check it enough and didn't run over to the bandsaw and make it square. We made an assumption that it was square, and it's not, but that's okay. You get the idea. You basically turning this guy inside out and opposite of the way you would make a natural edge bowl. All right, and this natural edge bowl, as you can see, is rectangular, oblong, and all that. So that's that. That's pretty fun. Again, I'm in this mix, right? When I look at this, I'm trying to decide: would I want to cut this out, carve this away, and just leave some type of natural profile, or do I just want to leave? Because that's kind of cool. You got a little limb right there, right? Just floating out here by itself. The leftovers of a little limb right there. And how often do you get that, right? And you got your bug holes around it. So, let me pop this out of the chuck. Everything is covered up with wood chips. But we still got nice chips off of there. Also a testament to that M42 steel. Again, I use that same bowl gouge or bowl gouges for whatever in the world. Oh, I was doing those bowls, those other bowls last week. So there you have it. And if I do that and take off that, you start to get an idea for what we've got here. All right. It's not like some stellar looking piece of wood, but that really wasn't my goal or plan anyway. I say, it's about 1/8 of an inch thick or so. And this is the profile basically that we were after in 4 places, as I've said before. We wanted it right here as well. We didn't get it. All right, so I'm going to leave the tenon on this so that this can someday be sanded up by my elves, and then have a finish put on it if we ever get to that point. How are we doing on time anyway? 2:20. Okay, so I got plenty of time, although I'm basically out of wood. So does anybody have any kind of questions today for this goofy little piece or anything like it? Anything about what I did, how I went about it? Again, we know why it doesn't have 4 legs. It's because I didn't cut it square. All right? But fun to make, good tool practice. Anytime you're turning thin and open voids, it is a little scary, but it is great for your tool practice and to get your hands steady, because you got to be steady as that thing is going by. Again, we've got enough of the pith out of it that the top edge shouldn't crack. And if it wasn't so wet inside here, I'd throw some kind of finish on it just to see what it looked like, but it's not sanded and it is wet. I mean, it's cool to the touch. So it's not super green. It's a year old, but it's back out of the 6 inches log. All right. There we go. And like I say, it's thin. There's not much to it. So we may just shut down early today, and I'll go back to work on my other projects and getting ready. But I do want to make sure if there's any kind of questions. It didn't take as long as I thought, so that's why I'm a little short on time. I thought I might take a little longer to turn that, but it didn't fight nearly as much as I thought it might. So I'm trying to read there, +9. Okay, well that's cool. And Michael says, see you in Waco. I'll fly into August 22nd. Okay, yeah, I'm leaving here, Michael, on the 21st to drive, and I'll drive 21, 22, 23. I'll get in there Tuesday night, theoretically, and I take Wednesday off and just relax. So we can catch up. We can catch up on Wednesday and all that good stuff. And then I've got my plans to get up into Colorado. I'm going to stop in Amarillo and look for a piece of machinery that was left there by a good friend of mine who passed about 7 years ago. It might be in one of like 5 workshops that his family has. His brother was looking for it for me. It's a $10,000 hot air welding machine from my past when I built boats. So I'm going to spend a day in Amarillo on my way to Colorado, and then fly home for a week in between Waco, the SWAT show, and Rocky Mountain Symposium. And I'll fly back out, and then when Rocky Mountain finishes, like again I said earlier, I buzz straight to Pennsylvania, and then visit the Easywood Tools office and factory on my way home from Pennsylvania. Go down through Lexington and come on back down to the house and rest up, regroup, and head out in September and October again. I'm trying to think if there's anything else announcement-wise to make. I don't think so. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. And everybody have a great afternoon and rest of the week and the weekend. I am unsure about next week. Part of me is going to go ahead and say I won't be here because I will have the trailer up to the other building and loading and getting things organized. So I probably will not be here, but who knows? I might just show up. Okay? Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And keep following along on social media. Keep up with what's going on at the trade shows and everything else. And I will see you again soon. We're going to hit number 6 and say farewell.